Welcome to another lecture with Professor Dennis. This one is using images in the workplace. There are a few key items to consider when it comes to using images for your workplace. The first will always be your rhetorical situation. You have to understand every aspect of rhetorical situation before you can understand how best to use an image. For more on rhetorical situation, please refer to the rhetorical situation lecture. Next, you want to consider the amount of space you have to dedicate to an image. The bigger the space, the more writing you can have on an image. The less amount of space you have, the less writing you will want because you won't be able to make it big enough for clients to read the print. After that, you want to consider what type of message the image is sending. We're going to look at some images after this slide for you to consider all of these items in turn to understand each a bit better. For now, just know that the message does matter. Then you want to have the appearance. Do you want something that's homey and cozy to go along with your message, or edgy and new? Do you want something that's timeless and classy, or do you want something that's classic and historical? Each of these different types of appearance sends a message to your audience without any words at all. Finally, what undertones are present with the image that you're using? This is also something that we're going to touch base with on each of these images. I selected this image for one purpose: space. If you don't have a lot of space, this image is not going to work well because you'll have to shrink it down too far to read the comic strip sections. That makes the piece less effective. If, however, you have enough space to play around with, a comic strip like this might work well for you. For this piece, consider the rhetorical situation, specifically the audience. If you're of the audience who prefers some of the more classic music or music before the mid-1990s, you would be inclined to agree with this meme. If, however, you're more inclined to enjoy recent music, you might find this message to be an insult. This goes to knowing your audience as well as understanding undertones of an image. This piece is historical. The woman pictured here comes from World War II, when women were asked to leave the home and work in factories while the men were off to war. Working outside of the home during this era was a true marker of strength. This meme has an undertone of strength that spans generations because of the image that's used. Here we have an image that would work well for someone in homeopathic medicine to convince a client to try alternatives to traditional medications. However, this would not work so well for a pharmaceutical rep who would like doctors to test out new medications. Images can also be as simple as a sign posted out front of a business. There are numerous memes available online that show different funny sayings out in front of a business. These funny sayings help to garner business because potential customers remember them. A wife who wants new tile will laugh at this, but she'll also remember it when it comes time to pick out new remodeling materials. This piece has solid symmetry as each word lands on a picture. You also have 3 across and 3 down. This creates an appealing effect on the audience without them even realizing. 3 down and 4 across. It's still symmetrical, and it does have that very strong sense of satisfaction. Again, especially since we have that one word per image. Comparisons can also have a great effect on the audience and create a lasting impression. While this one is humorous, you might consider before and after photos of your work if it's applicable to what you do. You also want to think about the color contrasts. Here we have an image of a black panther with a dark background. This contrasts well with the saying which pops in the white lettering. This contrast clearly allows your audience to see the wording. If darker lettering were selected, it would not be seen, and the message would be lost. These are all really strong items to consider as you are going about selecting your images for this week's discussion. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please do not hesitate to reach out using that email icon in the Learning Management System. Thanks so much, and I'll catch you on the flip side.